voice, Charles Harris, here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check.
I'm going to have to fix that one.
Yeah,
All right.
Looking at Charles Harris' chest.
All right. Keegan Eckert comes in and says, "Hi, fellas. Welcome to Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. It's the Lions fan cave chat." Eric Dalton says, "What's up, brother?" And I am joined by DC 8091 and Detroit Dom, who has a great nickname I need to make bigger so I can read it. Cowboys gonna cowboy. Yes.
That sounds
Chargers
like a
too.
movie. Sounds like an adult movie I do not want to watch.
Well, let's get into the topics tonight. I know everyone wants Swaggy back, but what about Chark, Elliot, and James Houston? Because they are all FAs too. What do you think about that, DC?
Yes, and throwing Anzalone. And Comiskey.
Well, Comiskey was already made a priority. They talked about that earlier this week. What do you think, Dom?
Well, I might be outside of the everyone. I know me and you have talked about it, DC. I don't know if you had heard. And I just had a number in my head before I went and looked at, on Spot Track at contracts for running backs. And what am I trying to say? Brad Holmes, if you're watching, I hope you are, because we have a lot of football knowledge. The hardline bargain is $30 million. Swaggy, you can have $30 million. You can have $30 million for 3 years. You can have $30 million for 4 years. We'll give you $10 million for 3 years or $7.5 million for 4. But beyond that, no thank you. As far as Chark, probably, I don't know. Would they give him a multi-year deal at this point? Or they give him another 1-year prove-it deal?
I mean,
same kind of thing.
I think
either you get 1 year for more
deal.
money or 2, like Reynolds. Either you get 1 year for whatever, but the thing with him is, look, you've got Amon-Ra and JMO ahead of you. So we're not giving you, we'll give you top tier wide receiver 3 money.
Well, then you're talking about Christian Kirk money.
Oh, no. We're not. Can't even call them Crapsonville because I said it, and you heard me say it. I said Jacksonville just might end up with as many wins as us, and they did. They were just in a crappier division.
Right.
Shout out to Jacksonville. They're going to win a playoff game because Chargers going Charger. It just got delayed a week. Elliot,
Steven
yes.
Bauer. Steven Bauer says, "What's up, guys?"
Bring it back up.
Chark, Elliot, and James Houston is the one I was talking about because everybody forgot that we medically waived him and then signed him back to the practice squad and activated him later in the season. That means he was on a very cheap 1-year deal.
There's absolutely no way
he's going to cost something.
No, he's not.
No, because he still falls under the first 3 years rookie umbrella for a 6th round pick.
Is he like an old?
He's 22.
Old rookie?
He's 22.
He played the 3 years. I love that draft pick.
Yeah.
And I was saying this earlier. No one on earth that isn't a Niners fan says that Houston wasn't the steal of the draft. Niners fans are like, what about Brock Purdy? I'm like, any one of us 3 could take snaps behind that San Francisco O-line and with that defense and win 10 games.
Yep, I kind of agree with that.
But what they should do, because we've done this before when we had lower down draft picks, lock him up right now I'd give him 5 years.
I'm sure they will I'm sure that's high on the table then.
I think that him and Hutch you guys ever see the it might have even been the Babe Ruth movie with John Goodman.
Yep.
When he was getting into it with Gehrig, calling him Garrison, and they literally got into a war of words and at bats trying to win the home run title.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's Houston and Hutch, but they're actually they're buddies. I think Hutch ended up half a sack ahead.
A sack and a half ahead.
Well, he played 17 games. Houston played 8?
9.
Yep.
Suffice
I
it
know.
to say, the pass rush is in good hands.
Well, it also helps that everybody knew what Hutch would do. So they started doubling him and chipping him, and that left
Yep.
Houston wide open to come in, which is what we said would happen with Charles Harris and Romeo Aquara. Even
Yeah.
Romeo Aquara in the 3 games he played got 2 sacks.
Pascal
Yeah,
got
'cause
2.
everyone's-
Pascal got 2. Comiskey got a couple, like I think 3.5 total. Most of them were half sacks and 1 single sack.
That's fine.
Aleem McNeil got in on the sack party. Isaiah Buggs had a sack this season. The only one that didn't get in there was Benita Jones.
This is like assuming even if we don't draft, well, I mean, I'm sure we'll draft one, probably not an end, but if we draft a D tackle and bring everyone else back healthy, this is the best D line we've had since 2014.
So now we're going to get
Yep,
into another
easily.
subject, which is probably going to upset some people, but you know what? We got to think this way. Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn may get poached as head coaches. What are your thoughts on replacement or replacements if necessary? Ben Johnson has interviews scheduled with the Texans, the Panthers, and the Colts. Aaron Glenn with the Broncos and the Colts.
I would probably go with Deuce or the QB coach to replace Johnson. I mean,
Same.
those are the only 2 I can think of.
Well, there's one guy that we're not thinking about that would be good, and he has familiarity with golf, and that's the QB coach and offensive assistant coordinator Zach Randolph for LA, or Zach Robinson from LA.
Yeah, him.
That's somebody I wouldn't mind bringing in because Brunel has done wonders with Goff and his mechanics. Even though he's a left-handed quarterback, he's helped Goff look better. I would like to leave him right there. You know what I'm saying? And somebody said Deuce Staley. I was like, with the way our running back room has been working, I'd rather leave Deuce right there as assistant head coach.
Yeah.
If you put too much on somebody's plate when they're doing well where they're at, sometimes they fall apart.
You mean like every head coach we've hired ever since Wayne Fonts? Like great defensive coordinator. Oh, let's make him a head coach. No, let's not. Yeah,
I mean,
Robinson is. Go ahead.
The guy we should have kept back in the day was Gary Moeller, the one that took over for Bobby Ross and got us to the playoffs without Barry Sanders. That's more impressive to me.
The only head coach other than Jim Caldwell since maybe ever, unless you go back to the 50s. Gary Moeller had a winning record.
Yep. The only other one was Joe Schmidt.
That speaks volumes if I'm like, hey, keep the Michigan guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great job.
We got a couple. C. Bauer says, give Houston 1 more year, 1-year deal. Make sure he's not a flash in the pan. Wait a minute. He's a rookie. We can sign him for 2 more years, dirt cheap as a 6th-round pick because the 6th round has 3-year to 4-year contracts. So 3 years minimum.
You have to reward him. And the thing is, rewarding him is like $3-4 million a year. Like he was happy to get drafted.
Right. And he'd get like $4 million for those 3 years he'd be here. Total.
And
because he's a 6th-round pick. Yeah, you just put a shit ton of sack incentives and QB hits and pressure incentives, and if he makes a Pro Bowl, give him a bonus $500,000.
Yeah, give him $2, $3, $4 million a year, and if he repeats that, let him, give him that $10 million.
He's under the rookie salary cap. He can only make $480,000 a year.
Oh, geez. But yeah, wasn't it Kevin Green
base salary?
Got so many sacks?
Base salary, yes.
Carolina.
Yeah, but yeah, as far as OC, Robinson is the only one that makes sense outside of the organization. I pretty much agree with DC. Like, if you're gonna, right, I would rather keep guys where they're at. But if you're gonna promote someone, I don't think Ben Johnson gets hired because, for one, he is just this 1 year as an offensive coordinator on his resume. For one, for two, does he really want to go coach Houston
or Carolina?
Carolina.
Here's
And
the
Aaron
thing.
like
Glenn,
a-
I'm not worried
Wait.
about that. I mean, if we
Unless he
finally
wants to
do lose
retire
Aaron Glenn,
afterward.
no big.
Here's the thing. Which two teams have had more one and dones lately? Texans and Carolina.
Yep.
I was talking about this on my show.
So that I could see either one of them actually hiring him.
No, Houston is going to hire another black coach because
Alright, and
McNair is racist as hell, and he's just waiting for Dan Snyder to drop those other 49,995 emails, 40,000 of which are about him being racist. But then he can be like, I'm not racist. I hired a black coach. I hired another black coach. It's just like all the teams that gave Kaepernick a tryout.
I got
Whoever
a million.
that was, racist.
I got
Go
a
ahead.
million comments to catch up.
Do it. I got to
King SJ says, "Hey guys, LOL. Keegan JB loves the Fabias alone. Robinson would be fine. Granted, I hate when we finally get nice toys and someone steals them. Rest in peace to Moeller." Keegan Eckert says, "Part 1, Johnson has the most odds to take the Panthers job. The only thing we will need is an offensive coordinator. Glenn isn't leaving. Yes, I would go after someone that has experience with Goff." Eric Dalton says, "Give Houston a Sean Payton laced and sit incentive package." Part 2, that is in the Rams organization. And if Aaron Glenn goes, we get a comp pick. I think we'd get one if Ben Johnson goes because he was the offensive coordinator all year.
Hell, another good offensive coordinator, Sean McVay.
No.
Sarcasm. That was supposed to be funny.
I laughed.
throw
I
him out of the
laughed
window.
on the inside, but my head goes.
Campbell would throw him out of the window before the first day of training camp.
Yeah, I think so too. So
Or that or Goff would.
on to the next one. Oh, go ahead, Dom.
Speaking of Goff, I don't think he broke it yet, but I'm pretty sure he's creeping up on the all-time NFL record for pass attempts without an interception.
Yeah. Not bad for a turnover machine, huh?
Yeah.
He never really threw a lot of picks. He used to fumble a lot. And that was me and Jeremy's main concern. Like, please fumble less. And he did fumble less last year, and then this year, even less.
Oh, fake Jared Goff comes in. I was offered extension 3 years, $75 million, and I'm in Cabo.
If his contract was up, I would give him that right now.
Right.
Absolutely.
25 million a year? Fuck yeah.
Well, right now he's going to make 35 as it stands. Which, if you look at all the other QBs that had top 10 stats, that's cheap.
Easily.
Could be worse. He could have Dak Prescott's contract.
Or Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
Or Aaron Rodgers. Hell, Kyler Murray for that matter. Or Russell Wilson's.
Arizona is an effing mess.
Yeah. Odds are Sean Payton wants to coach the Cardinals because he loves Kyler Murray.
I'm not quite sure about that. I heard it too, but I don't know how
I'd rather have that than Denver.
He said it on ESPN himself.
Yeah. I know he said it. I believe
it. If Dallas loses and they fire McCarthy, or Jerry Jones dies and then the son fires McCarthy, even that I wouldn't want it because it's the same as Denver. Hamstrung with that quarterback contract.
King SJ has a question here. Question about comp picks. If we get a comp pick for a coordinator leaving, I'm assuming that is separate from the free agent side of giving teams comp picks. You only get a comp pick if a player you develop leaves, or if a minority coach leaves. Correct?
Yes. You don't get comp pick. Yeah, right. You don't get comp picks unless you drafted them.
Or you trade for somebody under the rookie contract and you take it over. Lions Talk by Chat Sports. What up, Mike Kimber? He says, what up, Doe? Denver is far worse than Arizona, Eric Dalton says. It's true. Look at their record. And the fact that their defense played well and they couldn't win.
Hang on. Let's go back because we never talked about it. And in the offseason, it was our biggest fear. And then 6-7 games into the season, we're like, that's not happening. If someone does hire Aaron Glenn, who do we replace him with?
Yeah.
I literally have no idea.
Mike Kimber says Mountain Dew drinking with Jeremy B. Eric Dalton says, I would love for Jim Harbaugh at Denver. And Rico Beard, of course, says, if Ben Johnson leaves, I think Jim Bob Cooter's back.
The only way that Harbaugh gets that job in Denver is if Peyton turns it down. And it actually makes perfect sense because Harbaugh is that type of egomaniac that's like, I can fix Russ.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't know what happened, but my prediction came true of Denver finishing in last.
Oh, we kind of both said it. I said it was going to be between them and the Raiders, and it was a close race for a long time, but the Raiders won a few too many.
And Denver got Russell Wilson, and the Raiders benched their starting quarterback with 2 games left, and Denver still finished in last.
Oh. And Mike Kimber says, Russ is dust.
Have you seen his cap number the next few years?
Oh,
holy Christ.
They're
it's like
screwed.
It's like 35, 42, and 48 million.
Yep.
Yeah, it's bad.
And there was going into the season, they had a pretty tight defense too, but they got hurt and now they can't keep anyone.
No, their defense, Denver's defense
good.
did well. It was good all year.
The whole rest of their roster is above average.
Except for
you got Russell Wilson.
Their O-line and Javonte Williams went down, and that's when everything really fell apart. And and Mike Kimber, Lions Talk by Chat Sports says Denver will suck for some time. It's true.
Like the Rams?
Yeah.
Who sucks for longer? The Rams or the Broncos?
Depends if it's base days.
Broncos because they're tied in. I don't know. It's hard to say.
5 years on Russ and only 3 years on Stafford.
Right, but the Rams are like $3 trillion in the they've been paying the luxury tax for a few years now, and their window slammed shut this year.
It's not really a luxury tax. What it is the owner has been doing that cash above cap thing where he takes 20% of his profits and turns it into bonus roster money, which is no different than the luxury tax in baseball. But
luxury tax
that teams that
basketball
are close, teams that are close can afford to do that because their roster's that good. They can afford to spend on a free agent or 3 to get their team to where they want to be.
I mean, the Rams did what they needed to do. They got the quarterback that won them a Super Bowl. And now they're going to suck for 5 years.
Is about a day late and a dollar short as usual on my channel. Breaking news. Ben Johnson has an interview with Houston and Indy. You left out Carolina. Good job.
Are these fake accounts all the same person? And if so, who is it?
Probably.
I don't know who it is.
But right, it's 2 Ps. Well, 3 total.
Yeah. Isn't it RAPPAPORT?
One of my fans.
Anyways, Rap-a. Right? Rap-a.
Yeah, you totally spelled it wrong.
I don't know.
No different than the Deshaun Elliott. QB contract should have their own cap.
Or if you want to win a Super Bowl, don't give quarterbacks a bunch of money.
No shit.
Like the Ravens.
Matt Stafford is the only one that was an above average paid quarterback that's won a Super Bowl since Tom Brady was a rookie.
There's maybe one other one, but I was just talking about some I showed earlier. Like 18 of the last 20 Super Bowls have been Tom Brady or rookie quarterbacks. And then Matt Stafford.
Eli Manning was one of them.
Look what it's going to cost them. But they got a Super Bowl.
And Joe Flacco was on his rookie contract.
He was the first one. A huge deal.
And then
But
he
you
never
kinda
went
had
back.
to. Joe Flacco had not even arguably, that's the best postseason run by a quarterback that I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Eli
He
Manning.
was on absolute fire.
No. Well, okay. Worst teams, but Flacco's like numbers, and he won a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll give you Eli
He
because
was
he
on
got 2.
fire that
And he beat
first
Tom Brady twice.
Eric Dalton says, I want Harbaugh in Denver out of spite. Tired of his games. He will be done coaching in 2 years. I doubt it. I think he's doing all of this to get as much money out of Michigan so he gets paid more than Mel Tucker. That's what he's going for.
Really? It's about money?
Yeah.
That's lame.
Because he literally hired an agent, and the next thing you know, his agent puts out the statement, not Harbaugh. Harbaugh will take a job with any NFL team, and then all of a sudden, all these contract talks start up again.
It's stupid.
When they
like,
just reworked it last year.
I knew before Michigan hired him, like, Harbaugh, you can't do it at Michigan because Jesus couldn't get them another national title. And this year, and it just makes me so mad because I put all my support behind Michigan football. And then their national title hopes got ended by a frog.
So I'm going to start with you, Dom. Ending the season at 9-8 overall, what are your expectations for next season?
I'll put the floor at. Actually, going to put the floor at 8 and the ceiling at 11.
Mine's a little different.
I looked at the schedule. I mean, in the hopes and prayers that Goff gets better on the road, like, there's at least a small chance that we might not lose a home game. Even if we win 6 and 3 on the road, there's 9. So 10 wins, 11. If we don't win the division, something went wrong.
With this
because
year,
Dalvin Cook is not staying healthy next year.
Right.
Minnesota's my only fear.
And Eric Dalton says, no, it's not actually about money. It's the ego. But
what did they say?
What's the difference?
What's your expectations, DC?
Win the damn division. And other than that, I'll put it the same I did this year, 12. I'm shooting for 12 wins. 70% win percentage equals
I'm
12.
saying this year coming up is playoffs or bust. So that means a minimum of 10 wins because 9 got us hanging on the edge, right?
Yep.
So 10 wins and a possibility of winning the division.
If we don't make the playoffs, because 10 will get us in. And as messed up as it sounds, if we go from 3 to 9 and stay at 9, I would think about moving on from Dan Campbell.
And I see I got a comment here from Ryan Pole Smoker. We have $100 million in cap space and the number 1 pick, new CEO, front Big Ten, worst to first in 1 year.
Big Ten, you say?
Yeah.
You know what Chicago might do?
Trade Fields.
They might get a haul for Justin Field and then draft CJ Stroud.
That would be awesome.
That's not Ryan Poles' quarterback.
And
Justin Fields.
Eric Dalton brings up a good point. Floor 9, ceiling 11, current roster. Goff did get better on the road. We only lost 1 road game after going 1-6.
Yep.
Imagine if we could have. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Like, we went 1-6, and then we got to see relevant in January. Had we won any of or just one of those games somewhere in there, close
had
games.
we not give up the 10-point lead in Minnesota.
To Minnesota, I was just talking about that earlier.
Minnesota, we would have had that.
That was the big one because Seattle. We said, you and I both said this is a crapshoot. I don't know which way to go. It's a 3. It was a 2.5 point favorite for Detroit, and I was like, I don't see it because they're winning.
That Minnesota game was the death of because Lions, or same old Lions.
Yeah, well, Steve Bauer, speaking of contracts, since the Ravens threw Roquan Smith a bag, what are they going to do with Lamar Jackson? Their cap's going to be thin. Absolutely. They were talking about that in ESPN today. I bet you it'll be a cash over cap thing to keep them. If they
do it.
Here's the thing. Like, They should just let him go now.
Exactly.
Because
that's what I'm
what
thinking
do you
they're gonna
take
do.
him and kick the can down the road and then not want to pay him the year after when it costs even more?
Right. I know.
He's
Keegan
not.
Eckerd,
I'm thinking they're gonna walk. I'm thinking they're gonna let him walk.
I think so
Sick
too.
of dealing with
Trade
his
for
injuries
Justin
in his
Fields.
mouth.
We don't know if
Please
Justin
don't.
Fields can
Please
develop
don't.
into a
Can I-
passer.
Can I read
We-
the comment, guys? Keegan Eckerd comes in 11 to 13 wins in playoffs. Expect the team that can and will to be a team
13.
that others don't want to play.
That
Well-
was us this year.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think we're going to
We
be
should
better
have
than
made the
that.
playoffs instead of Minnesota by default
Yeah, because we had the
because we're
better
a better team.
in the division. Had the best record.
Yep.
By the way, I got to do this now. This is my message for everybody else in the NFC North, all the fans of other teams that talk shit. Eat it. Dom.
Yes, you should. Particularly you, Green Bay.
All joking aside, this season started out and all of us were questioning what we set our preseason estimation for this team. But they came back and backed it up. That firing of Aubrey Pleasant, the trading of TJ Hawkinson, and I don't care what you say.
Enjoy that message.
I don't care what you say. The curse lifting ceremony at Ford Field with Peyton Manning and Jeff Daniels meant something.
Oh yeah, they put the good shit in.
King SJ says, I enjoy that message. I will. Bo Gagria says, what's up? You missed my message, Bo. Did you see that for the rest of the teams in the NFC North?
The
Happy
second half of
Friday.
the season was definitely because Lions.
Oh, yeah, because the Lions were better than we thought.
Well,
Yep.
like
Need to get healthy.
7 games into the season, we were looking at a historically bad defense. And then the second half of the season, magically, we're a top 10 defense.
Yep.
For
And
all
I said
but one game.
after a few games, I was like, our defense isn't this bad, and our offense isn't this good.
But our offense,
Goff had 2 different games with 4 passing touchdowns.
Yep.
one at the beginning of the season, one towards the end.
No, they were both in the first 5 weeks.
Yeah. What was it?
Bo
Miami
Gagria
and,
says
Washington?
laughing my ass off. That's the truth. And Keegan Eckerd says, fuck the Packers, fuck the Vikings, and fuck the Bears. We will win the division with a split with the Vikings. Deron Payne comes in. I'm taking calls. Tell Brad to hit me up and stop being cheap. Hey, he actually spelled his name right. I'm impressed.
All right.
With the capital R. But it is great to say we had the best record in the division against our division foes. And somebody in this chat called it prior to even one of the members of this group right here even being here.
Don't hurt your wrist or your back patting yourself on it.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
look, they're right here.
Go ahead.
But I did say it as soon as we read the schedule. I said, "Watch, Dom. We're going to split with Minnie, and we're going to sweep the Bears and Packers." And you said, "There's no fucking way."
I was like, I said we were going to beat. I said we
Same
were
old
gonna
Lions
beat
died,
you know.
and because Lions is on life support.
Yeah, I think it's actually in a coma.
Pull the plug.
It's in hospice.
In hospice. Eric Dalton says, "Look at Goff's QBR. He has gotten better No, that's not true because his best year QBR wise was the year they went to the Super Bowl. The next year,
literally, I just clicked Goff. I can't see.
Derek Dalton says, "You and I both said it. I find
2018
lack of faith in the Lions disturbing. Darth Vader."
Your lack of faith disturbing.
Listen, Jared Goff got sacked 23 times in 17 games. Matt Stafford got sacked 29 times in 9 games.
Yeah.
Thought Goff wasn't mobile.
Really
because
not.
When we were looking at the schedule in the offseason just before the preseason started, and Dom and I was going through it with everybody that was on the chat that day, he was actually going, because Lions, we won't win this one, but we will win that one. Because Lions, we won't win this one, but we will win that one. And then it got to the point where he was like, and because Lions, or the same old Lions, we won't win a game in New York.
I was wrong. I was just about to say, I was wrong about a lot of things.
Yeah, I call 12 wins. Don't feel bad.
No, that what you're talking, but his touchdown to interception ratio was better that year.
Out of my head. I was just about to say, you know what 29 divided by 7 is? More than 4.
4.
Right.
4.1 something.
Yeah. 41-17 the year that they went to the Super Bowl.
I was talking about Goff this year.
I'm talking about Goff. 41-17.
No, that was Stafford in 2010.
Oh.
Super Bowl year, 32-12.
Oh.
Still more than 4-1. Or no.
And Bo Gagrius says,
Yeah, right.
I got
More
nothing against Stafford. It's a shame Sheila was an owner while he was in Detroit.
We had to move on.
Mike Valenti, I see you guys taking a step back next year. 7 wins is DC8091 on his 14th beer. He's not even drinking beer. He's drinking Jack.
I'm drinking Jack, fan club.
So far, at this point it's even, but I think we win the trade. Rams got a Super Bowl.
By far. I say
Congrats.
we win it. Yeah, good on you. I'd rather have
we can't even say until 2 years after this draft because we still got that other pick.
Yep. No, I mean, 1 Super Bowl is all fine and good, but 3 years from now,
if we were good enough, I'd have been like, oh, we'll keep Stafford and win a Super Bowl, but we weren't. But I wanted Stafford gone 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I'd rather have a better team for a long time than 1 Super Bowl.
What is it I said when we were talking about the trade mid-season, Dom? You got to look at it as short-term, mid-term, long-term, right?
Right.
In the short term, the Rams won the trade. They got their Super Bowl. In the midterm, because of Stafford being hurt, you have to say the Lions are winning because everybody we've gotten out of it has provided something to this team so far. So right now, this year, you got to say it's a win for us. Long term is to be determined. If the Lions end up in the Super Bowl by 2023 or 2024, you say it's a long-term win for the Lions, correct?
100%.
Yeah, or even just a consistent playoff.
Even if we're just a playoff team in those 2 years and getting closer and not quite there yet, guess what? It's a wash.
As much as Goff costs, Stafford costs more.
Right.
And
because
we don't need a Stafford. Goff is basically, he's a little overpaid, but like I said, and here's a fun one. All things being equal, Stafford healthy. What's our record if we have Stafford this year? I think it's probably 9-8.
I think it's either the same or even less because
in
those games where we were down by a score in the third quarter, that is Stafford's by far his entire career, his worst quarter of football. As a matter of fact,
he'll lose it.
In his career in Detroit, he threw 0 touchdowns in the third quarter and a third of his interceptions.
Yep.
Maybe Stafford wins us 2 of those games that Goff couldn't, but Goff didn't lose us at least 2 of those games. Those close games, Goff knows better.
Mike Valenti, that's what we're saying. He's not overpaid.
Every quarterback's overpaid. Well, 20 starting quarterbacks are overpaid. Is he really overpaid?
Stafford was just the best QB in this town that we've had since Landry, but unlike Linda Lovelace, he choked. He tried to lose against San Francisco and Bengals. Both teams dropped game-ending INTs. This is true. I mean, if Jaquiski, that's why Jaquiski Tart was not a part of the San Francisco 49ers this year. They said, nah, we don't want you. He had a year left on his contract, but he had no dead cap. So they said, yeah, you're gone. Patty Grimes comes in and says, what's up? No one on this panel said Goff is overpaid.
I mean, slightly.
Not really. He was 6th in touchdowns, 6th in yardage.
I mean, holy fuck, because I said Goff's not getting 4,000 yards, but only because we rushed for 2,000.
And we did both. We got both.
And we had the best tight end season in our team history without Hawkinson. Really, it was just the injuries early in the year, and Campbell had to be way too overly aggressive. Everyone's like, oh, he's too aggressive. It's like, no, our defense sucks, so he's got to go for it because no faith in the defense.
I didn't watch Pike. I didn't watch Pike's breakdown yet because I was at work today. Patty Grimes said, sorry, I was late. I was in the Panther chat telling them how bad Ben Johnson was. But yes, he did address that backup was a need. But why would Aaron Glenn be talking about offense? I think you meant Brad Holmes.
He said Glenn, but he must have meant Campbell or Holmes, because why would Aaron Glenn have anything to say about a quarterback?
Right. Bo Gagrius, I heard that Mike Floria guy, I think that's his name, saying Goff is underpaid and needs to ask for a raise. You know what? I don't think he needs a raise. I think we have him under contract.
He's making good money.
Bo Gagrius says I told him to shut the fuck up in his video comments. Asshole.
He's making good money, and he's happy with it because Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell put his arms around him.
And he's playing where he's wanted.
So I'm saying they put their arms around him.
And he goes, whoops, Holmes. He was talking about Holmes. Yeah, Holmes did say that he wanted to make a backup quarterback a priority. No, I don't want Stetson Bennett at all.
Statistically, I think Goff
Stetson Bennett will be in the Tyler Murray 2.0.
And ranking-wise, he's no worse than 11 or 12. He's at the very top of the second tier.
Right. That's where I am.
And he's never going to be elite, but that's fine. This team isn't based on that.
Yeah, according to this guy, he sat there and goes, Ryan Poles says he is blown away by a QB at 1. I said, no, you read it wrong.
Do it.
No, but I watched that presser. He's talking about what Ryan Poles said. He goes, unless I am absolutely blown away by a QB, there's no way I'm taking one at 1.
It's not even about the QB. He would have to be blown away by what someone would offer him for Justin Fields.
Right. But
I would understand, because that's his quarterback.
Right.
And they're multiple. You know what they could do? They could trade Fields for some picks and get some O-linemen and some weapons.
Bennett has never, because he never held a clipboard. He's a 6th year guy in college. He's 25. He'll be 26 the year before he plays his first snap as a backup.
Chris Winkie. Or what's the dude from Cleveland? The red-haired dude. Brandon Weeden.
If your GM decides he wants to, you have no choice, Mr. Matt Eberluz. Brent DeWitt asks, how much do you think it'll cost to bring back Chark? Goff's got chemistry with him now and trusted him on 2 4th downs in Green Bay. You know what? You're right. But I think it shouldn't be much more than what he made here for the 1 year. And I think it might be another 1 year one because he got injured again. I think we should give him another 1-year prove it deal.
You can get a 1-year deal as the highest paid third wide receiver in the NFL, or you can get a 2-year deal for less. I give him 2. He's still pretty young. He's like 25,
Patty Grimes
26.
says Bennett is almost as old as Goff. Yeah, I know. He'll be at his prime and never played in the NFL. Not a good combination. Ask Brandon Whedon. I'm only seeing UDFA for third string. If you're going to take a UDFA, I said the one that I wanted in a chat earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Lindsey Scott Jr. of the Christian College Incarnate Word. The kid had 70 total touchdowns this season, 60 of them through the air. Imagine a Fields for Lamar trade with the number 1 pick and the Ravens get Danny Dimes or draft Bryce Young. It could happen.
I mean, we know what Lamar Jackson is and isn't. Fields, he's got a stronger arm. He's just as athletic. He's bigger.
He's a little more accurate. His decision making is just as bad, though.
I mean, honestly, like, who loses? I would do it if I was Chicago. I would do it if I was the Ravens.
Patty Grimes says Hooker is almost as old as Goff, too. Is it which Hooker? You're in Detroit. You're talking about Detroit. There's lots of them.
Like,
just kidding. I know you mean Malik.
The Ravens get Fields on his. The Ravens get Fields on his rookie contract for what? 1 more year and a 4th-year option.
5th-year option. They got him. Fields was a rookie last season.
4 plus 1, right?
Yeah. So 5 years.
Okay,
so 3 more years.
2 years plus a 5th-year option, and room to develop. And the Bears get those picks.
Yeah. I know. I just hate. I hate the idea of Stetson Bennett. When I looked him up, he's 5'11". He's barely 200 pounds. He's gonna get killed. He looks
Drew
fast.
Brees, 5 years into the league.
He looks fast in college, but in the pros he'll be slow.
I don't trust any of those Georgia players the last 2 years. They're the new Alabama.
Well, yeah, they won 2 years in a row. They are Alabama.
Literally. Is any one or 2 guys that good? Probably not. They're just surrounded by really good players.
There is a QB in the NCAA that'll be 30 next year. Yeah, and he probably has no chance of going to the NFL.
I know who he's talking about. I forget his name.
Yeah, same here. Ben Johnson, I think I'm leaving, fellas. Indy Colts. Yeah, we'll see. That being said, you guys got any questions? It is the Ask the Panel time, and looks like I'm the only guy here. All right, I'm going to do a word for my sponsor, A1 Tire and Auto Repair, 3 locations to serve you. 1 in Old Coquitlam with TNT Auto Sales, 1 on Broadway in Bay City, and 1 on Genesee Street in Saginaw. Great used cars and tires at a great price. Stop on in and check us out. I may work at any one of them at any time, so that's neither here nor there. Eric Dalton says you don't have the bladder of a pregnant woman. Yes, what? To the panel. What? Anything you want, Patty. How much will Jamaal want? I'm thinking it's going to be around 10.
He wants 10 for 4. You can have 10 for 3 or 7.5 for 4.
Well, seeing how there is somebody on the roster for another year, which we really don't need because we can draft his replacement, I think we should put Swift on the trade block, like right after the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Name your top free agent non-Lions targets. Everybody says Deron Payne, but he's gonna command a big paycheck. I think you'd be better off to get a guy that's a couple years older going into his third contract, like Sheldon Rankins, who's going to be like 28, 29 years old, still productive. And it would shore up and give us a valid starter with vet leadership that's better than Brockers. We're going to clear about $20 million in cap space next year, and I can name 4 guys that'll be gone, and there's your cap space. And I'm going to start from the most expensive one. Big V, Michael Brockers. Much as I hate to say it, Romeo Okwara and Charles Harris.
What's the cap hit on Romeo?
This is the year it goes down because this is the 3rd year of his contract.
Okay.
So we actually save like $10 million by cutting him. We save $10 million by cutting Big V. We save $6 million by cutting Brockers, and we save another $4 million by cutting Charles Harris. Oh, Ben Johnson says, question, do you think I should take Kelvin Shepard with me for defensive coordinator? You're an asshole.
I mean, he should. And if he takes that job, he will.
Any of our O-line free agents you want to keep?
Evan Brown.
Evan Brown, because he'll be cheap. He's a backup. He's still under rookie deals because he's a UDFA.
Not good enough to start, though. Like, if Vitai's gone and we keep Evan Brown, we need to go get a veteran guard.
Either a veteran or you got to take one like in the 2nd round.
Right. Yeah, somewhere in there. Or maybe Evan Brown, because he wasn't good, but he wasn't bad either. But he's also surrounded by all pros. Neither one of them made all pro. Thank you, Queef Raymond, for listening to us for 2 years. Now you're an all pro.
Yep.
Now we got to bring him back.
2nd team all pro. He's actually under. No, it's 2nd team all pro.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
All
He's
pros
an
and all
alternate.
pro.
Yep.
I mean, we could literally put me or you between Sewell and Reg now.
As far as
I would keep Romeo. He came back and played like Romeo. He did. Well,
for one game. No, he played one game like Romeo and then disappeared. He really did. He had 2 sacks.
So
in
like
one
Romeo.
Game. Yeah, he played like the Romeo we had before his contract year.
Yeah, if saving the money by cutting him is more than the cap hit, we don't need you.
Jesus Christ. I love the smell of farts. Just left the Pistons game. Got a chance to sniff Dwayne Casey's seed afterwards.
Fuck Dwayne Casey. Oh, we lost. And by the way, we were up with like a minute left.
Right.
We won on Wednesday against the Timberwolves. But much like, about the 26% of the time that we win, we shot 60% from the floor.
Romeo's going to be what now? Romeo's going to be what now? 29 in damaged goods?
Yeah, let me look. I think he's 20. He's 27. He turns 28 in June.
Okay, so he'll be 28, but he's still damaged goods now. If somebody would offer something for him, yes, but if they're trading for him, they're trading for that contract. Nobody wants to pay him $13 million a year when he doesn't produce 10 sacks a year.
Has he not missed more games than he's played since we gave him that money?
Yes.
Or it's close.
He has.
Don't need him. we could get.
Wait. Okay. Wait. So if you could use that money to sign somebody who's worth $10 million and is more productive,
Yeah.
you want to keep Okwara when he's missed more time than he's played in 2 seasons.
He's played 9 games in 2 years.
Yeah. 9 games out of 34. Breaking news. Brad Holmes said Goff is his guy. Eric Dalton says, I died laughing the other day. Houston played 72 total snaps. Those snaps. Yeah.
I think more than that.
No, it was 72 total snaps. That's all he's played. But you got to remember, we gave one team only 40 offensive snaps in the game. I wouldn't give up on him yet. He can still be productive and keep. I just disagree, Zakwa. I think Romeo Okwara is washed up and done.
I mean,
for $13 million a year, you can get better.
Right. It might be cheaper to keep him for 1 more year.
It clears $10 million off of the dead cap because we also get you don't give him his roster bonus. You don't give him this. You don't give him that. Cap hit doesn't include roster bonuses.
Yeah, like he can go. Julian can stay. The other injured brother.
Who also missed a lot of time.
Apparently, if your last name's Aquara, you're allergic to the field. Julian was another one of those ones, and we always do this shit. Didn't we draft Julian in the 2nd round?
Second or third. Third.
We love drafting 1st round talents in the 2nd round because they were hurt.
I'm just saying the guy that clears the most space is Vitae. 2nd most is Romeo. 3rd most is Brockers, and then it's Charles Harris. Altogether, it's like close to 30 million we can clear up. You had 30 million to 40 million?
Then we could take a big swing on who I don't know, and I don't think we will.
Nope, and I still think the target for a vet going into his 2nd or 3rd contract that'll be mid-level is Brian Murphy of Arizona. I like him. He would be a vet leader in the cornerback room.
Right.
Mike Hughes played well in spots, but he was inconsistent all year. There was times when I watched him and I wanted to pull my hair out, and there was other times, oh, there he is. He's doing good.
Right. Even if we get to whatever our max cap space could be, I don't think Holmes takes a swing
and
at a
top
flight guy.
Would we be mad if they trade back and take 2 corners in the draft? I would take 2 corners in this draft anyway.
No matter what.
I think the 2 I'd take, and Joey Porter Jr. isn't one of them.
Oh, you moved off him?
Because he comes from Penn State, which is a primarily zone place. We don't play a lot of zone.
Oh, so you got discouraged by the Oruwariye?
Yes. And I know Joey Porter is better than AO was coming out of Penn State. I'm not questioning that. But he also doesn't stay on the field. He's missed a minimum of 4 games every year.
It's funny because I don't see Porter lasting till our pick, but if he drops down into like the 20s and we're there, I might do it.
Well, our pick is at 18. If he's there, maybe, but I would rather grab Cam Smith there. He's a better player overall, I think, the guy out of South Carolina, and he plays man and zone equally. But if you want a guy that had a great QBR against, and that's a big thing if you really want to pay attention to it and break down all the stats.
That's like the most important thing.
The kid out of TCU.
Yeah, I want that running back too. You know what the best thing about this season is? I don't know shit about any of the players that aren't 1st-round picks.
Yeah, and the kid from TCU and Devin Witherspoon is the other one I want.
Dude, yes. Yeah. He'll be there, even if he slides up.
Yep. And like I said, Joey Porter Jr. screams of like drafting Jamison Williams to me.
But you love that pick.
Eric Dalton, we should have said his name. Illinois, Devin Witherspoon. That's the guy.
I can't shake the feeling that we dropped down from 6, maybe all the way out of the first round. And then from 18, we move back up to like 12.
What, are we trading to New Orleans? Or Cleveland? Or Denver?
Those quarterbacks are going to slide up. Hopefully, I mean, he'll be there, but we have to convince Vegas that we really want to take Anthony Richardson so they can trade up one spot.
No, the last time I did a mock last night, and you're going to die. Raiders traded up one spot and grabbed Keely Ringo, the most overrated corner in the draft.
The one. That's the one. Yes. Or like the third best O lineman.
Yeah.
Alex Leatherwood.
He was like the 6th. No, he was the 10th best O lineman at that point in the draft. Remember? Because that's the year we drafted Sewell.
Leatherwood, and that's why I don't trust mocks. Really, period. But I don't trust them until like a month or so before the draft. But like the first mocks I saw had Alex Leatherwood 1. But I also saw a mock several years before that had what's that fucking guy's name? The quarterback from Notre Dame that got fucking punched out when he was at dinner with his family after they blew Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah, Clausen.
Some irate Notre Dame fan.
Keegan Eckert said we could also trade
walked
with
into
Miami.
the restaurant, up to his table, just socked him in his eye and walked out. Didn't even say anything.
Eric Dalton says, yes, trade with Denver. They're like, I will do anything you want for $5. Yeah, I know what it was from. That's why I was laughing. Jeez, I wish.
If Denver didn't owe all that money to Russell Wilson, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to draft quarterback.
To Russell, I am cooked. Wilson. He's cooking. He is cooked.
Yeah, let Russ cook is burning Easy Mac in the microwave.
Broncos country. They're dead inside.
How funny that all those quarterback draft picks that John Elway blew, they removed him from the GM, still kept him as a consultant, and then they got it even worse in a trade.
Whew.
I don't like.
I think Drew Lock would have been better.
Kind of overrated, but what the fuck happened?
I don't know. I seriously do not know.
I mean, I don't have any strong feelings about Denver one way or the other, so I don't really care. I just like that I was right.
Patty Grimes says the Walmart Broncos. Not wrong, though.
It is Walmart.
Where the most expensive thing on the shelf is a piece of crap. Hey, it's Russell Wilson.
I mean, the thing is, when they won that title, it was the defense and beast mode. And then when the defense started to break apart and their O-line got shitty, he had better numbers, but they weren't as good.
They were one and done in the playoffs those years. Or maybe make it to the divisional round.
Right. Who takes Temple Trap? Want to get rid of? You can't get rid of Russ.
You don't understand. It's $100 and some million dead cap hit the next 2 years with Russ.
It's like I said, it's 38, 45, and 50.
Eric Dalton, too bad teams can't trade QBs to the announcer's booth. That is the only thing that saves Denver. Obviously, Elway is still concussed. Oh, man. Well, we've been on for an hour. It's been a blast talking with everybody. I got to say something about my other sponsor real quick, which is Mad Lab Custom Creations. Dan Letter's little love child, where he does custom paint jobs on awesome mini helmets, whether it's hockey, baseball, or football. You can start your personal collection by getting into one of his breaks, where it's like doing a raffle to get one. I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. I want to say thank you to my panelists. DC has been on the phone call with some family. Dom's been right here with me, except when he's had to go potty. That being said, breaking news, CJ Stroud is being offered millions to stay at Ohio State. Yes, I heard that. And if he takes the NIL deal and doesn't declare for the draft, that is huge. That means your best two is probably Bryce Young, Will Levis. Your top three then is Bryce, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson.
If Stroud's going to stay, like, he can hire an agent, but not say that he hired an agent. Figure out what your NFL contract is going to be based on that slot and be like, you got to at least match it. Because I'm not, like, why? Well, I don't know. What would you do?
No.
I would stay in college and try to get a national title for the same money, or I'm leaving.
Eric Dalton says, love you, hamster bladder Dom.
It's the size of a small grape.
That being said, what are your final thoughts tonight, Dom?
Like I said, I can't shake this feeling that we trade down from 6 to, like, maybe all the way to the bottom of the first or out, but then back up from 18. Maybe we trade down to like 20 something. Then we give one of those and the other one and move back up. And I hope it's not a reach, but I think like if Swaggy isn't going to cooperate, like I don't think Brad Holmes would give a bad contract to him.
Actually,
So,
Eric Dalton, if you hire an agent, you have to declare for the NFL. That's still in there. The NIL is something different. That's name, image, and likeness. That has nothing to do with agents.
You can talk to an agent on the lows and be like, hey, or really you can just sit there and figure it out yourself. Be like, okay, this is what I'm going to make. And if you can't match it, like, I'm out. But I would rather, I would stay in college, try to win a national title, roll the dice, because do you really want to be that quarterback getting picked by Houston, Seattle, Chicago? Like that could ruin your career. Like the
Carolina.
worst thing, you're right. I think Carolina maybe sticks with Darnold for one more year. Yes,
hell,
I
if
would.
Dom takes an NIL deal, he would still be a third string guy and still take it. Yes.
That's cool.
Who wouldn't? I have a face for radio. I'd take an NIL deal and still be the third stringer.
You get sponsorship. Like, I would love to get an NIL deal from like the 93 Toyota Supra. Because those are sweet.
Sweet.
I lost track. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, really, like, defense, or defense, running
offensive
back.
Guard.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I'd take the guard before I'd take the running back, because there's decent running backs late in this draft.
True. And behind this O-line, like, does the running back really matter? That's why I'd be okay. Like, I'm not even worried about a running back till like the 3rd round. Swaggy,
right?
Go. Swift, traded. I'll bring back Craig Reynolds and Jackson and draft one and get a cheap free agent. Marlon Mack. That's my final thought. Marlon Mack.
Nope, my guy would be third round because we got a middle to late pick in the third round at 18. Eric Gray out of Oklahoma.
I'm cool with him too. I'm just saying cheap free agent, 1-year deal, prove it. Young, still young, hungry, low
And
mileage.
if you don't take him there, if you're looking to just replace Swaggy, it's Roshan Johnson out of Texas. Big, strong, athletic, doesn't mind blocking out of the backfield, not really a pass catcher, which we all saw. Jamaal Williams dropped more than he caught this year.
Or the TCU running back, but I think he's going to slide up. That's going to be this year's
I
Kenneth
think he
Walker.
may stay. Since they made it to the national championship, and this is his junior year, he may stay.
He might. I would take anything for Swift. Anything.
What do you mean, Keegan Eckert? A bag of chips. You could probably get at least a third or fourth, maybe even a second rounder for Swift. Maybe a second rounder.
Maybe. Who's way low down that would need a running back? Like someone that's going to make the playoffs and move on. Like if we get a second rounder, it wouldn't be any higher than like 25.
Rams could use somebody to back up Cam Akers. Between the two of them, they can put a full season together.
Well, their second round pick. Their second round pick would be like 5.
Come on now, that's funny.
If they want to trade us, the 37th pick for fucking DeAndre Swift, let's go. Give us 6 in the top 82. Let's do it. Get on the horn with their GM.
Hey, Les, I got a guy for you.
I mean, I would trade Swift for Cam Akers straight up right now.
Keegan, Tampa Bay, Patriots, Carolina, Philly, and Sea Chickens. Yeah, that's actually true. Well, Sea Chickens have Kenneth Walker, but he didn't stay healthy the whole year.
Carolina definitely does not need a running back.
Oh yeah, they got Chuba and Donta.
Unless maybe they let Foreman go and we sign him.
No.
He's like 290 pounds. I mean, he's like 230.
Yeah, he's 230. He's my weight, but much faster.
He ran it down our throats and out our buttholes.
You think?
So did Chuba. Chuba
Hubbard.
I saw that first drive and I'm like, man, we better. And I'm like, oh, that Lions run defense.
Yeah,
that remained bad all year. Other than against
wait, no. We only had 2 bad games all year in the run. New England and that one.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Well,
because guess what?
Rush yards given up.
Because the total, I think. Oh no, you're unmuted. Okay, the total with the QBs included, the Lions' run defense was horrible. It was 5.3 yards per carry. It was the worst in the NFL. But if you take out the running QBs, it dropped all the way to 3.3 yards per carry.
Yep.
Saquon was never the same for the rest of the year after we shut him the fuck down.
Yep.
And then you got to remember, we did it to Dalvin Cook too.
Dalvin Cook does not play well against us.
Wait, he had 94 yards and a touchdown in the first game, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Good point. Yeah.
In the second game, he had 22 yards on 15,
22,
22 yards on 15, 22 yards on 15 carries.
I mean, we used to shut down Stephon Diggs. Like when Buffalo gave up the world for him, I was like, good luck. And then he just led the league in receiving yards.
Yeah.
For like 2 years in a row.
He's good. That boy good.
I mean, I'd rather shut down a running back 9 out of 10 plays and have the one.
Eric Dalton, only QBs ran on us prior to New England and Carolina, and he's pretty much right.
Yep.
I mean, look at the Buffalo game. The leading rusher was Josh Allen with 42 yards.
Exactly.
You take away Justin Fields' yards from Chicago.
Yeah,
guess what?
You want to know who our low-round backup quarterback is?
100 yards in both games.
You want to know who our low-round backup quarterback is?
Who?
It was Bailey Zappi.
So it should have been. We wanted him last year. Never trading with the Patriots again. Tampa and Arizona seem like good teams to trade with. And both games, Okuda was out.
Who does
Good
Tampa
point.
got that we might want?
Was he out for Carolina? Oh, yeah. Carolina was when he was sick. The New England game, he was in and didn't get hurt till like the third quarter, and he came back in the game.
Tampa has
Leonard Fournette, who's
they have an
god
extra.
awful.
They have an extra corner. What about James Bradbury?
James Bradbury is gonna get re-signed.
No, I don't think
Guy
so.
from Arizona might be free.
Their nickel corner led the NFL in interceptions, and he missed like 5 games. Actually, I think Bradbury might still be under contract for one more year. Philly's roster is just disgusting.
Yeah,
Like,
if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's unjust.
Should.
It's their own fault.
Right, it'll be their own fault.
Yep.
Only thing standing in their way is Frisco.
You got any final thoughts there, DC?
Other than it was a great historic year, and we're going to be doing this for years to come, and not starting the year 1-6.
We better pray to the health gods again. We don't want to start out next season like this season.
I try not to jinx that. Thank you, Jeremy.
I mean, we got to wait till May to see the actual schedule.
Eric Dalton, the whole team was lame against New England. What are you talking about? Hutch only played good when the interior D-line played good. Otherwise, he disappeared, just like the rest of the D-line in the front 7.
Well, New England was Kaminsky was hurt. Pascal hadn't even played.
Yep. Houston played.
Like, you can't do it by yourself.
You had the bump on the log known as Michael Brockers playing on the D-line.
Yep, no Charles
That's
Harris,
the only really bad black mark on Brad Holmes's jacket.
That's the worst thing.
But that's not as bad.
Benson was still on the practice squad.
Hell, I mean, at that point, Brockers would have been a plus for Matt Millen.
DC was on a family phone call.
Sorry about that. Yep.
That's okay.
Don't be sorry, be better.
That being said, I'm going to end this show the same way I always do. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because it's the only way to make the world a better place. This has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin' Jeremy B with DC and Detroit Dom. Thank you all for watching. Have a great